Hi, I'm Summer Antrim. I'm the Director of Customer and Partner Marketing here at LucidWorks, and I'm so happy to have you here with us today for our webinar. Before we begin our webinar, just a few housekeeping items to note. Number one, please feel free to engage with our panelists by submitting any questions you have through the Q&A feature, and we'll respond after today's webinar. Jump in and use the chat feature as well. You can engage with your fellow attendees there. And if you need any help, send us a message through the Q&A feature and we'll get back to you. I'm really excited to speak to our knowledgeable panelists about digital experiences. Each brings her own perspective to the table here. We have with us today Carrie Rich, LucidWorks VP of Product Management, and Lana Klestoff, LucidWorks Chief Client Officer. Thank you so much for being with us here today. So we know for life in general, and when you focus in on the realm of digital experiences, you can't do it all. You can't do it all and get it right. So the questions we're posing to our panel today should help us understand what should be prioritized, what we can bite off from this big space to make a measurable impact for your users. So let's talk through the 6 smartest DX approaches for 2025. The first thing we'll focus on is AI orchestration and relevance. We see Forrester predicts a 20% decline in CSAT scores for organizations that don't effectively orchestrate their AI. Carrie, why is AI orchestration so important and what challenges do DX leaders face to enable it?
Yeah, thanks, Summer. In my view, AI orchestration is really important because in many ways, your end users, your customers have come to almost expect AI as the backbone of a lot of the experiences that you're providing to them. So in many ways, they're expecting that when they're getting search results from your page, that there is some sort of algorithm powering that search result. And so because of that expectation, there's an amount of relevancy that they just expect to see. That means that they expect to see the right content, the right solution for them at the right time. And that's what's powering the digital experience that your customers are going to have. And so when it comes to this concept of AI orchestration, meaning bringing together all of the different pieces that allow you to provide a seamless experience to your users, it's going to be really important that retailers and others are able to provide that seamless and cohesive experience across all of the touch points. This means that if I'm interacting with, say, a chatbot, or if I'm interacting with the search on your page or something else on your page, I expect that that interaction is going to be unified regardless of what is powering that particular interaction. And so you're going to want to deliver on that. There's also certain expectations that are just baseline that your users are going to have around security and privacy and the guardrails that you put in place around the type of experience they're going to have. And lastly, it's going to be really important to bring together all the different tools and solutions that are required to provide that best-in-class user experience. And that's where a lot of that competitive edge and competitive advantage can come into play. There might be a particular model that's most impactful or beneficial for one particular element of the experience, and then maybe there's another model or technology that's better for that next step in the experience. You're going to want to be able to bring all that together into a unified user experience that allows your users to make decisions on your site and throughout your experience.
Great, thanks, Carrie. And Lana, how have you seen practitioners actually dealing with AI orchestration and relevance?
Yeah, I mean, Carrie touched upon it a little bit. I'm like the value that LucidWorks drives is really our ability to impact that entire digital experience. So, like, whether your end user be a customer service rep, maybe an internal employee, we are taking our orchestration to really be able to unify all of our AI solutions. So in the example of an e-commerce customer or client of ours, thinking about stitching together and unifying things like what Carrie mentioned, chatbots, search results. Think about like summarization components to create that holistic experience that really provides that unification that she's talked about, really driving toward like intent driven results, not to be redundant. A lot of our clients, as we've been talking to them about stitching this entire experience together, they talk around, how LucidWorks AI allows them to and helps like propel that search experience forward faster. It's all about time to value, without losing those necessary controls, the security aspects, the other components that Carrie mentioned as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Lana. All right. Another key to digital experiences is merchandising and personalized experiences. What merchandising trends are you seeing in the field after speaking with so many practitioners?
Yeah, I would say one thing that I am seeing a lot of is this need to be able to visualize or simulate what my end user is going to experience as a result of the merchandising decision that I made. So being able to see if I move these products or if I set up these rules, I want to see what that end user is going to experience in the same way that they're going to experience it. So this trend towards more and more visual merchandising tools that allow me to do that is going to continue to grow. I also have seen that there's a need in the space for more decision-making support and the ability to take advantage of insights from how users have interacted with my site in the past, how they've interacted with search results in the past, take those insights and really bring it into the experience and adapting the experience where needed. But all of that as something that I, as a merchandiser, can oversee and can make sure aligns to my brand and to the expectations of my users.
Great. And is there a way that you see that practitioners could prepare for future trends today? Is there a way to future-proof what they're working on today?
Yeah, definitely. I think it comes down to the tooling that you select, the ability, the vision of the tooling that you select as well. Does this tool analyze buyer data? Does this bring together all of the data and content into a single place so that you can make decisions? Does the tool give you those visualization capabilities and those simulation capabilities? And then even more than that, how does the tool use AI to help me? And how does it use it in a very practical way? Is the implementation of AI within the tool something that adds value to my decision-making process, that shares with me perhaps some information I didn't know about why a particular product is showing in a particular place that maybe changes the decision I might make? So how is the tool giving you insight into why certain things are happening and then giving you very practical ways to take action on those insights?
Excellent. Great advice. Thanks, Carrie. All right. Now, having worked at LucidWorks for a while, I know relevance is king. So, for our third approach, something that search practitioners think about constantly that when it's done right, most people don't notice. They're off on their next task, or they are finding a pair of pants that matches the shirt they have already added to the cart. So Lana, with relevance more important than ever, what do you see top companies doing to tune and refine relevance, and are they successful?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about relevance all day long until we're blue in the face with our clients. It's absolutely critical. Like kind of continuing on with my example around the e-commerce world, you need to be able to, in real time, anticipate what your customers need. And they might not even know what that actually means. They might be searching for something and going down this discovery journey and not know exactly what they're looking for. And like, if you think about like lexical capabilities, taking a specific keyword and saying hair dryer and matching that to all of the hair dryers in your catalog. It's a lexical match, so that means that it is relevant. But you need to also be able to understand the implicit and explicit inputs like intent, context, behavior, all of those things to really be able to drive to the most personalized and most relevant experience. So when we talk about the hair dryer example, knowing that maybe I might be um, a super user of all Dyson products, being able to surface a Dyson hair dryer versus that of someone else, really is able to provide or create that intent driven and understanding of the behavior and propensity of what I've purchased in the past to drive to that experience and ultimately lead to higher conversion rates, driving additional revenue. A lot of what we're seeing in this space and working with our clients is leveraging this AI to be able to both analyze these kinds of inputs and information, but also test and experiment into things. We think about things like the propensity to buy a Dyson dryer, experimenting into segments or those that are more intent to buy something like that, and aligning those things to really create that personalized, I don't know, super powered experience, if you will.
Right. And Carrie, what industry technologies or trends are helping with relevance tuning and why do they matter?
Yeah, there's quite a few out there. The ones that come to mind, Lana mentioned lexical search and the semantic search, understanding the intent of the user. We're definitely seeing a lot more use of the more intent-driven search for sure. What I also think matters a lot is the ability to route the user's search into the right technology for the task that the user is able or is looking to accomplish. And there's a lot of considerations that go into that, speed and performance being the biggest one. But ultimately, if a user is typing for, say, a part number, you might be best served using a lexical type model underneath to find that part number and do an exact match. If your user is searching for something like running shoes, you might want some combination of a lexical search and a semantic search to understand that they're looking for, say, jogging footwear. And so you want to bring up the search results that match jogging footwear. You may even get to a point where your users are typing in full questions into the text box, and that might be the best model to provide a solution or a result for the user might be a large language model that is going to have a lot more horsepower behind it. So being able to route the user's query to the right technology is really important. The other thing that's important is the ability to adjust the weighting of the different types of technologies that you're routing the user to. So being able to say, I want this much use of lexical because maybe most of my searches are for part numbers. I want more of a semantic. I want more of that conversational. Being able to adjust that and test that. And ultimately, it comes down to being able to have tools that allow you to make micro optimizations in order to drive macro impact. That's what matters the most.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. I've heard a lot of water cooler talk recently about fast start, fast value. Carrie, why is fast start, fast value or proof of value an important approach and what's driving this trend?
Yes, we have seen quite a dramatic trend towards this, towards wanting to be able to get to a positive ROI as quickly as possible, really wanting to see the business results fast and take advantage of those results quickly. And the reason for that is because the faster you can get to those business results, the faster you can invest in additional technologies, additional approaches. And in order to get there, you have to be able to test, you have to be able to try different things. And all of that comes down to being able to rapidly test, rapidly experiment, then drives into which of the approaches you're taking are going to have the biggest business impact. So it matters a lot because I want to be able to drive as much revenue as possible for an organization. I, as a merchandiser, I want to be able to drive revenue for my organization, and I want to try different things and then, like I said, make those micro optimizations that allow me to tweak certain components of my experience and drive towards that fast value. So that mindset is definitely a shift that we're seeing because all of these programs are coming under a lot of scrutiny around how much value are these adding, what is the ROI, and that means that you have to be able to tell the story about the value and impact that you are driving. And that's one of the things that we've invested heavily in is our experimentation platform and really giving the users of our platform the ability to understand measured impact by testing and using the analytical capabilities that we have to be able to tell that story and really show how quickly they can get value from these types of programs and technologies.
Excellent. All right, and that is actually a perfect lead-in to our approach number 5, effective analytics. In order to know you're getting fast value, let's talk about it. Lana, what companies come to mind when you think of those who excel at analytics? Who's knocking it out of the park?
Yeah. I mean, faster value is the key to it, and being able to understand the data behind it that you're driving to that outcome. We've got a lot of companies that are leveraging our analytics capabilities, whether that's LucidWorks Analytics or Analytics Studio, to really dive deeper into search performance. So they're using dashboards and like KPI tracking to identify these trends and optimize these customer journeys. So if you think about it, this becomes your like proverbial cockpit where you're coming in and understanding what that journey and experience has been and potential trends that are either influenced by that of I like to always joke about like the Oprah kind of influence. And she says that you've got to buy something, then all of a sudden you buy it. Although based on where we are at today, maybe that's more of an influencer on some of these social platforms. But being able to take those trends and identify and optimize those things along the way, it's providing access to that data to really drive that actionable insights, really amplifying that experience, driving revenue. We saw one client with this level of analytical capacity or capability, whatever you want to call it, they were able to drive a 90% increase in revenue through that superpowered, supercharged search experience. And I think another thing that you need to consider is, we've got anticipated peak seasons and annual sales that happen throughout the year, but there's this kind of concept of seasonality, right? So think about Cyber 5 and what that peak period of time looks like. It can lead to a very different and more unique type of shopping behavior during that period of time. You're looking for that exact sale item that you've either seen through socials or seen on the website, and you want to get to that quickly, convert on it because there's limited supply or whatever it might be. So being able to use that real-time data to really redefine that experience throughout those types of crucial sales periods is incredibly important. And I think if you're not using that information and that data, you're leaving dollars on the table during that period.
Yeah. And Carrie, what trends are you seeing that support data-driven behavior changes?
Yeah, definitely. I would say just kind of adding to what Lana was saying, a big trend that we're seeing this year and have seen over the past few years is hyper personalization. This idea that if you might have a particular campaign that is targeted towards a particular segment, and then getting even more personalized within that experience that you provide for those users. We're seeing a lot of companies using advanced customer analytics to track behavior and to really understand intent and help users make the right decisions for them, whether it's completing a purchase or engaging with content in some way. So we're seeing a lot of that hyper personalization. We're also seeing this concept of while we're seeing a lot more of predictive analytics and the surge in predictive analytics, which is again another trend that we've seen over time, and we will continue to see this into 2025. This is really being able to use your analytics and your data to make decisions about your customers and really understand what your customers might do given past behavior, given user paths and purchase intent and other data points that you have. So it's going to be really important to continue to have those analytics and continue to invest in them. And then the last one that I think is really interesting that is emerging as perhaps a newer trend over the past couple of years is this idea of prescriptive analytics. So we have analytics that allow you to predict what users might do. And we also have analytics that will give you insight into not just why a user is doing something or why your users are doing something, but also what to do about it. What types of discounts might be most impactful? What products are going to be most impactful for this user, and really giving you very specific and targeted recommendations for how to drive the user behavior that is going to impact your organization the best. And we've seen a lot of benefit from clients who have adopted these types of approaches when it comes to conversion lift, really being able to make those, like I said, those micro optimizations. We see a lot of impact from those.
Absolutely. All right, coming around to home base here with our last DX approach, let's talk about intelligence insights. Carrie, can you share 3 insight best practices that'll help DX and search teams in 2025?
Yes, I love this one. I think it's really important to invest in intelligence and the analytics that are powering the decisions that you make and the experiences that you provide. The first best practice that I would recommend is the timeliness of the analytics that you are supporting. So this means making sure that you have real-time or near real-time processing of analytics that you're bringing in as it happens, your user interaction data, purchase data, conversion data. We're seeing things move really fast. We're seeing users make decisions about products or content very, very fast. So that means that your analytics need to be able to keep up with that, and that you need to know when someone is making a purchase or how certain queries are doing in real time so that you can make near real time adjustments and really optimize for that experience. So number one is those real time pipelines and investing in and prioritizing building those real time pipelines. Number two is making sure that your data is accessible to anyone in your organization. So we've seen a lot of data silos over the past decade or so, a lot of data investments that result in data being in one place but not in the other place. A lot of times certain metrics or data points don't match up. So one tool might provide data insights or metrics that don't match up to another tool. And so we see teams spend a lot of time talking about and trying to identify which one is right. So it's going to be really important to have that unified, centralized place for all of your data so that you can everyone in your organization is making decisions based on the same data and the same reliable data, which goes back into that real-time analytics, making sure that your data is in the same place and that it's flowing in as quickly as you're getting it so that there's no room for misinterpretation of data due to the timeliness of the data coming in. And then the last one, I talked a bit about this before, is the moving even beyond the dashboarding and reporting. Those are important. It's important to have the right data in the right place. And then it moves into using that data to make decisions and to optimize your user experience. So I would highly recommend, as a best practice, adopting those prescriptive analytics and the tools that allow you to understand why certain things are happening and then give you insight into what to do about those. That's very actionable and allows you to drive additional conversion and revenue, and then training your teams on how to act on those recommendations so that those recommendations can translate from tweaks into actual revenue and conversion.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Carrie. And Lana, what advice do you have for people about picking and focusing on the right insights that matter the most, make the most effect?
Yeah. I mean, I think Carrie touched upon it a little bit. We've got a lot of information that flows from a variety of different systems. So having that unified perspective and point of view is incredibly necessary. I talk to a lot of our clients that share things like how they aggregate this information and try and stitch and thread it together to get to that point of view. So being able to have that unification and almost a unified hub to pull those details together is incredibly important. And then honing in on what makes the most impact to fuel that, you know, personalization at scale. And then at the end of the day, I mean, all of this, by being able to grab all this information, it's also adding a level of efficiency for, whether it be your merchandisers or other folks that are trying to curate this experience, they now have the ability to go pick their, kind of focus on what they need to, driving strategy and broader, more impactful things. Beyond that, the component that Carrie talked about, not only just a second ago, but even in the previous approach around this prescriptive analytics, like what we are seeing in the market is a lot of our companies investing in tools like LucidWorks to analyze those patterns, to suggest those potential fixes, but then also give you the ability to take immediate action, whether that be, an individual on your team or thinking about the future, taking an agentic approach to focus on the right insights to make that immediate investment and impact.
Excellent. Thank you so much, ladies, for your time today. And just if you are looking to utilize all the methods that we've been talking about today to boost your digital experiences, it's an exciting time to be at LucidWorks right now. We've recently launched and updated a suite of products that enable the methods we've talked about today. So should give you a big advantage to tackle your DX improvements. Give us a call. We're here to talk to you. We're happy to answer an email. Send us a pigeon in the skies. We will be here to talk. Thank you so much to our panelists for joining us today. Really appreciate you sharing your knowledge, and big thanks to you for joining us as well. Have a great day.